Butch and Quake, a little bit.
Okay, what are we talking about?
You?
Me, man.
The holsters.
How fun is it for you to be a backpacker? Check out the
You know, what's interesting to me is I look at, this is called an A+ practice field that they're at. And I know they're about to go to another A+ practice field, you know, out in, is it Frisco?
Yeah.
That they're going to? It's kind of fun to watch the guys and to watch what they do, how they do it. The difference between today and yesterday is quite a bit different. Our pace was a little different because we were under kind of a military regime. Our coach was a military guy, and so are our other coaches, and you know, it's just a little different how you watch it. But to see the older guys, the guys that I had a chance to play with, and also to see the younger guys, to see how they play, how the game has emerged today. It's a lot different than what it used to be.
Butch, you were part of a play during the 1980 playoffs against the Falcons where Roger Staubach threw out a hilarious line about a ref saying "I-dog" dying. You were denied a touchdown pass in a game against the Falcons where you came back to win. Any memory of that?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I jumped so high. There's a picture of me that jumped so high that my feet were over the head of the guy that was right next to me, the referee. And it was just a quick slant. Caught the ball, turned 2 steps, walked away. I could have just put the ball down, and but you know, in those days I was pretty aggressive in what I did, and it just happened. I mean, those are plays that happen in a lifetime, but I do remember it was a playoff game, but it didn't hurt us from going to the Super Bowl. I think Drew had a great game that week, and we ended up in the Super Bowl because of that.
And at what point did you begin the routine of doing the holster, hands to the pocket, and make like you're going to be putting the 6 shooters out after a touchdown?
You know, that came about by accident. I caught a touchdown against Mel Blount, and it was the last preseason game. And Mel Blount at that time was probably one of the greatest corners that ever lived. And at 6'4", 220 pounds, and I don't know if the guys could have handled him today. I don't know if anybody really could have handled him and how he was and how he played. But anyway, I catch a touchdown, and there's this lady in the stands, and she puts her hands up and she starts shaking, and I was shaking back to her. And I said, man, yeah, that was pretty neat. And after it was over, we had a press conference, and guys were asking me, well, what kind of end zone dance is that? What are you doing? So I had to name it real quick, and because I came out of California, it was called the California Quake, right? The 6 shooters came because I had done anything for Texas, and I just kind of evolved. I figured that I wasn't trying to necessarily just dance to be dancing. At that time period, it was a transition. And what I was after was to take our face from beyond the face mask. That was our whole purpose, because I felt that the football business would be the entertainment business. I felt that's where we were in. And we were going through a transition of just pure football to entertainment that you see today. And so I was one of the first, and we were in an organization that didn't serve beer in the stadium. We were in a very conservative organization, so my whole quest was to take my face and put it on the other side of the face mask, and to do that for other people, and I was right. A friend of mine, Cliff Harris, said to me 10 years afterwards, the great Cliff Harris, who was a safety here, he said, how did you know it was going to be like that? I said, I didn't, but I said somebody had to take the chance with their career and take their face and put it on the other side of the face mask.
Can you do it for us?
What's that? I was a Quake. Now I'm just a quiver, man.
We got a Bronco guy here, so he'd love to see it again.
Well, you know, up there, man, I actually did the moonwalk, man, and some different stuff. So, you know, it was a whole different thing. I wasn't trying to do the same thing every time, and it was more of the entertainment part of it, because how I graded out in all my performances and what I did in my career was, you know, was great on the field. You know, first of all, you can't get away with it. But at that time period, you got to remember the time period, is I was trying to make sure, and I was at the #1 ball club in the nation and in the world, basically. So if you could do it there, I felt, that would help everybody. And an old friend of mine, ironically, was Howard Cosell. And Howard, Gil Brandt and myself, and the guys didn't know this, first time I've ever said this on the air, Gil Brand and myself would go to dinner with Howard Cosell the Sunday nights before every night, Monday night football game. And so it taught me the entertainment part of this industry. Between Gil Brand and Howard Cosell, you're talking about 24 dinners in every city, every time we played on Monday Night Football. So I had the privilege of being around two of the greatest guys in the business at a very young age, between 24 and 32. I mean, what more could you ask for? So they taught me the business part of this and also the entertainment part of this. So I got to give some credit to, Gil Brand, who said, you got to keep doing what you're doing. Even if people don't like it, you got to keep doing what you're doing. And Cosell said to me, you will never get credit for the things you did on the field because people didn't understand why you were doing what you were doing. It wasn't for ego. It was to take the face mask off. And now guys are making millions of dollars by doing it. So that's my story.
What was it like playing next to Drew Pearson?
What was it like playing next to Butch Johnson?
That's it. Amen. Amen.
I mean, look, guys, here's the deal. I had the privilege of playing with a lot of great guys, but I understand the numbers. So you understand the numbers. You can see what I'm talking about. In 150 years, there's been 500 million high school players. Since 1902, there's been 61 professional leagues. 61, both men and women, right? That's 250,000 players. There's been 25 million college players. The NFL has had only a little over 18,000 men. Out of the 500 million, out of 8 generations, right? There's only been 250 men between 1973 and 1993 that played 10 years or more, and I'm one of them. So it doesn't really matter what I think of somebody else, because every person I played with was great. Every single guy was great. And if they weren't, right, they wouldn't be one of the 18,000. Does that make sense? So True, Tony, Phil Posderick, Doug Donnelly, Cliff Harris, Robert Newhouse, it doesn't matter. They were all great. They're one of 18,000 men in 150 years out of 500 million. What more do you need to do? Oh, I see. Go to the Hall of Fame, and then you become 280. That's when you qualify. Really? Come on. These are the best men in the world, man. The guys you see out there today, if there was any better, they'd be out there. Right? Okay? You can't escape this because you have to be great in order to be in this. Have to be great. Now, how you take it, if you're not willing to do the work at this level, and you half-step it, that's on you. But what can never be taken away is you're one of 18,000 men in 100 years who have done this. That's it. There's 18,000 lawyers in downtown Dallas. Come on.
Hey, Butch, what do you think about the concussions? What do you think about the head concussions? I just want you to...
Well, this is nothing new. There was a president in 1910 who called in everybody, not in the NFL, but all the college coaches, called them in order to tell them that you have to put rules in football. Okay, so this is 100 and some odd years that this has been going on. This is nothing new. The only thing that is new is that we're talking about it. And it comes in every 5 years, you talk about it, and then it goes away. And right now, the concussion thing, I mean, where does it stop? But if you think football is going to stop, American football is not going to stop. I mean, you can get over that because it's 8 generations here. You don't even know why you look at it. You don't even know why you love it so much. But all you've known in our lifetime is a few things. And this is the one thing this country has produced that has lasted 5 years after the Civil War started. It's going to be here today. It's going to be here tomorrow. And I don't care. We'll figure out what the concussion problem is and the other problems are. But people are not going to stop playing. And then if you just qualify it down to the NFL, you're only talking about 4,500 guys that are alive. So what are you saying out of 500 million? Give it a break. Anyway.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.